In this section, we're going to look at permutations and combinations, and this first video focuses specifically on permutations. We did some permutations actually with the fundamental counting principle. Here we're just going to formalize it a little bit and give you a formula to work with, because that formula is going to help us when we look at combinations. Now, the formulas we're going to go over aren't super important if you're given a calculator. If you are without a calculator, then these formulas are going to be important in order to find the values. All right, so when are permutations used? So let's consider a group of 5 people. So we have a club, 5 people. Let's see, how many ways could they arrange themselves in a row for a photograph? So A. Okay, how many ways can they arrange in a row for a photo? So if we call these people A, B, C, D, and E, then they could go in that order. A, B, C, E, D, they could switch. These 2 people could switch. We could start with E. There's a lot of switching around that can occur. So to calculate this, there are 5 spots that you could stand in for this photo. We draw a person out of a hat. There are 5 choices to stand in the first, 4 in the second, third, 2, and then there's only 1 person left to stand in the last spot. This would be 5 factorial. And just as a reminder, you could calculate this by going in here, 5, math, PRB number 4, factorial, 120. So there are 120 ways to put these people in a row. Okay? That's the fundamental counting principle. For a question like that, this is just going to be the best way to solve it. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now, sometimes we don't need to use all 5 people. We're only using a portion of these people. So we did a question in the last video that was about electing president and secretary. Okay, we're going to assume that the person can't hold 2 offices. So president and secretary are distinguishable titles. Okay, this means something. They mean something different, and we need to choose a person for each. So what we do for this is we say there are 5 people that can be chosen for president, but after the president is chosen, there are only 4 people left to be secretary. Now we don't have to keep going 3, 2, 1, because after this, those 3 people that remain are just members of the club. Okay? It doesn't matter the order that they're in. So 5 times 4 gives us 20 ways of electing these 2 officers. So what we need to do is multiply the first 2 and then stop at some point, and this is the idea of a permutation. For this permutation, this would be represented as 5P2. Okay, so we have a group of 5 members, and there's 2 spots that are being filled. Okay, so let's think about how we could get to our formula from here. So what we do is we need to have our 5 factorial on top. So that's like if you were including all 5 people. So we weren't stopping at just the first 2 blanks. This is like we're doing this right here, 5 factorial. But we have to divide off a portion to get down to 20. So we have to divide off all of these outcomes at the end, these 3 times 2 times 1, these outcomes, because those don't matter for question number 2. Okay? They do in question number 1 because all 5 people are being included, but they don't matter in question number 2. So what we're going to divide off is 5 minus 2 factorial. 5 minus 2 is 3, and we're taking away this piece. For question B, we're taking away the 3 times 2 times 1. So this is 5 factorial over 3 factorial. And to simplify that, we write the bigger number as 5 times 4 times 3 factorial, and it's just 5 times 4, which is 20. So our formula for permutations occur where the order matters. So, for instance, in a photograph, the order matters. It matters here who's the president and secretary. Okay, president and secretary are different. So for permutations or arrangements, of n distinct things, take an r at a time, okay, and there is our formula. So with permutations, a lot of times it's easier just to do the fill in the blank method. Okay, a lot of times that's easier. Sometimes you might prefer the formula, but a lot of times it's just going to be easier to do it the other way. So I want to show you where the permutation button is in your calculator. I have 2 different types of calculators here, so hopefully you have one of these too. Let's see. So math, PRB, and it's number 2, the permutation button. You have to type the first number in, so 5, then there, choose 2, and that gives us 20. If you do 5P5, that is what we have here. Okay, so it's 5 objects, and we're choosing all 5 of them and arranging them in a certain way. Okay, this is what this is saying. We have 5 objects we're starting with, 5 people, and we're arranging them in groups of 5. Okay, down here we have 5 people. We're arranging them by choosing 2 at a time. Okay, taking 2 at a time. So there's 20 ways of doing that with 2. Okay.